this is Richard Phillips here to tell you about the international crisis that occurred yesterday, October 4th, 1957. The Russians have launched a satellite called Sputnik. This is the first satellite ever to be launched into outer space. The nation is in a state of panic. Now the question is, America, will communism rain down in the form of foreign missiles, or will our government protect us and the land of the free?
Sir, we're rolling right now.
Oh. And now we have Warner von Braun here with our very own Matilda Greenwater.
Welcome, Mr. Warner von Braun. Today we have some questions for you regarding Sputnik. What was your initial reaction upon the launch?
When they launched it, my heart did a triple boom. Anger pulsed through my veins. I wish the US government would have let me launch my own, so we have big time, our own glory. But no, they did not. So now, we are unsafe.
What issues do you predict for the future of NASA and the American government?
Coming from a land of extremists, I understand the crazy fact. The NASA organization is full of people. So what should we do? Launch one back at the filthy commons, where the American government will soon be shot to pieces.
Well, that, sir, is an ominous prediction.
As long as the American government pushes forward to a new space frontier, the land of the free shall be free of war.
Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you.
Now reporting from our studio in San Francisco is Juanita Stewart.
Thank you. Today we received an interesting editorial that I think everyone would like to hear. Dear editor, who would have imagined that the Russians had the technology to launch a satellite into orbit? The success of Sputnik has caused an immediate reaction of fear and chaos, catching us off guard. We don't know what these Russians are capable of doing. Missiles could rain down on us at any moment. Communism could be forced upon us. Drastic measures are necessary. One of the things I like about our country is that our government doesn't control us and we don't pay high taxes. But one of the most important roles of the government is to protect the people. The bar has been set higher. Americans must pick up the pace. Our country should have been the first to successfully launch something into outer space. We need to improve our math and science, education, and research. We need to support the creative minds that help move technology forward. Having the newest and best technology is vital if we wish to keep our country safe from communism and stand in global terms where we ought to be. Sputnik is a warning of communism spreading, so we must view it as a challenge to stop the spread and beat the Russians once and for all. Sincerely, Bill Hewlett. Well, there you go. That's Bill Hewlett's view on the recent launch of Sputnik, America. Thank you for listening. Smell these wonderful flowers. Wow!
Come on, kids. Time for a vacation.
Yippee!
Where do you want to go? Lake Tahoe, Niagara Falls, the Grand Canyon, Yosemite?
Niagara Falls. But what about the money? How are we going to get there?
We are fortunate enough to have a free market here in America. Thanks to your father's smart investments and good stocks, we have earned our way to take a pleasant vacation to wherever we want in happiness for the years to come.
Yippee!
Thank you. We are fortunate today to have in our presence someone who was alive during the launch of Sputnik. Mr. K, how did you feel when you first heard about the launch of Sputnik?
Well, I was only about 4 years old at the time, Vera. Seriously, I was in high school at your age. I didn't think too much about it other than the surprise of, hey, there's something up there in outer space and man has put it there. I know the teachers in the high school made a big deal about it, that, hey, we had to get going, we were going to be behind the Russians.
Right. Were you scared that the Russians would attack the U.S. with missiles?
Missiles were not the big form of delivering weapons at that time. They had short-range missiles, but they didn't have the intercontinental. We were afraid of bombers. I know that in the mid-50s, everyone was afraid of another atom bomb.
Would you watch the night sky for Sputnik?
I can't remember doing that, but I'm sure now that you, yes, I think we probably did try to, I did try to see Sputnik.
So how old were you when this was going on?
14 or 15, what?
Over 1915.
Yeah, so I would have been 14 going on 15.
So that must have been pretty exciting for you and...
Well, yes, it was. Not as exciting as when the Russians got their first man in space.
Right, okay. Did you feel like Sputnik affected the school systems?
Yes, very much so. They began, at least they said it, they wanted us to study harder, and they used that as the motivation to it.
Was there a certain subject that they put more emphasis on?
Well, you would think the sciences, but I can't really remember that. In fact, my sophomore year, the geometry teacher was very, very good. So maybe they did continue to try to push that.
Sorry, we were having a bit of technical issues. But now we're back with a brief interview with President Eisenhower, conducted by me, Richard Phillips. Thank you for joining us, Mr. President.
Morning. Thank you for having me.
President Eisenhower, Khrushchev claims that we are now entering a period where conventional planes, bombers, and fighters will be confined to museums because they are outmoded by the missiles which Russia claims she has now perfected. Do you believe the Strategic Air Command is now outmoded?
No. I believe it would be dangerous to predict what science is going to do in the next 20 years, but it is going to be a very considerable time in this realm. Just as in any other, both the old is completely replaced by the new. It is going to be a long term. It is not revolutionary. A revolutionary process that will take place in the re-equipping of defense forces. It will be an evolutionary.
Mr. President, could you give the public any assurance that our own satellite program will be brought up to par with Russia, or possibly improvement on it?
Well, now let's get to this straight. I am not a scientist. Now the satellite that we are planning to put in the air will certainly provide much more information. If it operates successfully throughout, it will provide much more information than this one.
Mr. President, considering what we know of Russia's progress in the missile field...
Yes.
Are you satisfied with our own progress in that field, or do you feel there have been unnecessary delays in our development of missiles?
I can't say there has been unnecessary delays. I wish we were farther ahead and knew more. I wish we knew more about it at this very moment.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Dick.
I thank you for your time, your attention, and your silence. America, don't forget the undeniable. We will always be on top. And remember, stay classy, San Diego.